Tomorrow's the first Monday in October, which means a new Supreme Court term, and new Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is now on the job. Chief Legal Correspondent Jan Crawford is here with us. Jan, this is a change. How much of a development is it to have a new justice on this court?
Well, I mean, obviously we have an historic new justice, the first Black female justice on the Supreme Court. She'll take her seat on that bench tomorrow for arguments for the first time. We have 4 women on the court now. That's never happened before either. But what hasn't changed is this is a court that's firmly turned to the right. You've got 6 conservative justices, 3 liberals. It's a court that's willing to rethink decades of progressive rulings. So despite all the historic nature, Justice Jackson really won't change the balance of the Supreme Court at all.
You were here in June, and you left with kind of an ominous statement in talking about potential political earthquakes coming out of Supreme Court decisions, like what we saw out of the overturning of Roe versus Wade. The first key court case is Tuesday. What should we be expecting?
Well, I mean, let me just say right off the top, though, I mean, buckle your seatbelts, because as contentious as last term was, I think this term has the potential to be equally divisive. You're going to have issues on affirmative action, voting rights, LGBTQ discrimination, environmental cases, all of these cases, and they're starting right away on Tuesday with a major voting rights case from Alabama. Challengers are saying that Alabama is diluting the power of Black voters because they're packing most of the state's Black voters into one legislative district. They say there should be 2. Alabama is saying, well, we shouldn't even be considering race in drawing these legislative districts. That would violate the Constitution. If the court agrees with that, that would be a major rethinking of the Voting Rights Act. So this is a big case with significant implications well beyond the state of Alabama. But that's not the only issue this month on race. At the end of the month, we've got that affirmative action case coming out of Harvard and the University of North Carolina that is asking the Supreme Court, a group of white and Asian American students, to say that any consideration of race in admissions, affirmative action in college admissions, violates the Constitution. I expect the court to agree with that decision and end the use of affirmative action. Obviously, quite a controversial decision. Then they have the case involving a Colorado website designer and whether or not she can be forced to design a website for same-sex couples who are getting married, despite her views that that would be wrong, and she says it violates her free speech rights. And then, you know, if that weren't enough, another case on voting rights, and this is all just coming down the pike quickly. Another case that could undermine the role of state courts in deciding and reviewing election procedures. So they'll continue to take more cases, but this is a Supreme Court that is saying we're being asked to decide these cases and we're going to do it, and even if it means our opinions are unpopular.
Well, and we've seen with public polling that there is this perception of a politicized court, and Gallup's numbers, they hadn't seen a drop like this in confidence since they began asking the question.
Right. And, you know, we have seen in the past controversial decisions lead to a dip in the court after Bush versus Gore. The court recovered from that. The question is now, is the basic legitimacy being questioned at all? Can they recover?
And this is going to be a huge question. I know the justices themselves have been making public comments. Jan, you're going to be back with us. I can tell you that much. We'll be back with all of you in just a moment.